My professional background is I'm in human resources, and I am a chief human resources officer for a social services agency in the city. My background before that professionally was accounting and business management operations. I'm used to writing policy, so I don't think legislation will be that far off. And we have these untapped resources. Mamaroneck is full of people who are extremely smart and educated and have been here a long time and who have connections. And we should be asking them to volunteer, and we should encourage them to speak up. We need to use all of that in order to try and solve problems here. We can look at things like affordable housing and say it's extremely important. But then I can also say, if you look at flood mitigation, and we can actually impact some of that flooding, not get rid of it. We're right by the water, so that's not going to happen. But if we can impact that, we will actually increase some of the affordable housing naturally, because they're not going to flood out all the time. And we create more spaces where you can build naturally. It's still important, and I think we should be looking at that project, but throwing that up against renovating complete parks, trying to look at the safety issues, and then the budgeting, you have to look at everything. And I think we're trying to do too much at one time, and when you do that, sometimes you don't do things well. I also think we need a lot more transparency. I think, first of all, we need to invite people up just to talk, because I want to know what they need, and I can't give them back that information if I don't know what they're looking for. The website is good. I don't know that it's as good as it could be. There are lots of public records that could be made available, and that would reduce the amount of requests that come into our village. So it would reduce some of the staff time. I also think we need more updates on what's going on, more detailed updates. During the work sessions, I was talking to some of the trustees, and we feel like there needs to be much more conversation about why we want to make decisions, so that people don't just hear what we want, but why we want it. And I also think that when you have something like flooding, we need to be communicating what is happening and what's not happening all of the time, because we have too much trauma involved with the floods. So over communicating in this case would probably be better than under communicating and having people be surprised when something doesn't happen. I think change is difficult. I think that the other trustees don't know me, and so they're going to need to get to know me. Not everyone in the village knows me. My campaign started very late, so there are a lot of people who don't know who I am, and I think that might make some people nervous. Just that lack of knowing or feeling comfortable with me. On top of that, there's lots of stuff I have to catch up on. I've watched every meeting for almost 2 years, so I do know what's going on, but I don't know what's going on behind that. And I have lots of meetings with everyone who wants to help us, whether it's a county official or a state official, and some of the municipalities, just so that we can make sure that we're working together, get some of that funding we need for flooding. So it's really catch up and getting to know people. And so I felt like, having moved from the Bronx up to here, that I had found this really friendly little village by the water. And I have found over time, particularly probably because of national politics and the very divisive nature of that, but it's trickled down. And it's trickled down not just to our local politics, but to people. There's this feeling out there of, being a Republican or being a Democrat is good or bad, and it shouldn't be. There is this feeling of just, if we don't agree, then that's it, we're done. And I don't see people saying hello anymore. And I don't see the same level of friendliness that I saw before. I think a lot of it goes back to COVID. A lot of it goes back to the national divide in the party system. And it just gets very difficult. So one of the things that I love is that I've started to see a little bit of that pick up. During the last few weeks of the election, I would have people yelling out to me from cars or stopping me on the street to say hi. And I hadn't felt that for years. So I hope that we're heading back towards maybe a different version of the friendly village. I want people to feel more relaxed and more happy about living here. I've heard a lot of people talk about moving out, and I would hate to see all of them start to leave and just have new people come in and completely change the landscape of the village. And I know every single person has probably said this, I really want to put a different focus on flooding.